hours.
Okay.
The reason I mentioned to hold off on the FOIA stuff is that legislation was changed because of because I requested the last 4 months of my records and I delivered it to the marshals. If they want to be cops, then they can be cops. As a consequence of that, they refused to give it to me, at which point I had to go to a judge and make them give it to me. At the end of it came the new FOIA legislation. Now, you might be like, well, that sounds like bullshit. And because it is. And because the legislation, which you can take a look at, called the Legislative Proposal and Approval Process, was recently edited. Around the time, or the day before or the day of, me and Pred getting sworn in. In that legislation, the judiciary self-proclaimed themselves as an uncontested authority, which inherently is not only untrue, but is additionally unconstitutional.
Mm-hmm.
Friday and Saturday, myself and some others spent that time putting together an argument and contesting the very bill that allows them to make proposals and edits. And this morning, I received delivery from the state officials, an entity that oversees all branches, and they agreed. As such, this piece of legislation is going to change. It in turn puts into question every, let's just call it shadow edit. And be it the marshal changes that put them, that allowed them to assert themselves as an authority over you in Blaine County, the edits around the FOIAs, all of that are now in question. So.
Good.
So, hopefully at the end of all this, you'll finally be your own boss again. Even though I'm pretty sure you didn't really give a shit that they tried to swing their dick around.
No, I just kept doing the same thing I always do. Just ignored them. I don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. When I saw that FOIA shit, my plan was to contest it immediately because it's not constitutional. Putting forcing people to pay money and saying if they don't pay money, they don't receive their information.
Is extortion.
What happens if you literally don't have the money? Like you just don't get your stuff. Like there should be no financial hardships should not prevent you from an inherent right in the Constitution, or at least there should be alternatives that if you cannot pay in this moment, that a payment plan, or you be billed later, or literally anything. You literally cannot deny somebody. And then what was the other thing?
You have to tell them, you have to go to the department who is responsible for the report, which is information you would not have unless you had the document. You also need to, according to this, tell them why exactly you're requesting it, which
the reason
is insane.
Because I can. That's literally the only thing you have to say is because it's in the Constitution, I can. Doesn't fucking matter. It's none of your business. Maybe I just like to have a big binder of all the stuff that's related to me, you know,
You
for
get it.
my personal records.
Here's what I think, Daisy. I was already working with an attorney on this. We're meant to meet later this evening. However, as we're having this conversation, I come to the realization that I think you should be a part of that contest. And my reason is as follows.
Well, hear me out. I was not only planning on contesting this, but I was just like, I'm going to just do double whammy. I'm going to contest the Marshall legislation as well, because I think that's unconstitutional in the way that it's written. The fact that they took two sentences and their constitutional justification doesn't exist
Oh
within
my
the
God.
Constitution. So I was going to contest both of those. And then if it was found unconstitutional, I was going to move to impeach all three justices because it literally states that they are to uphold the Constitution and they are failing to do that.
I love it.
So if we're going to do this, like, let's move on it now because I'm tired of waiting.
Let me do the following then. Ajax has something being written up with the Marshall stuff. Take a look at it. I would start cooking on your end as well, because as a worst case, it would be two documents that can be converged on points that might be missing on one or the other, and we get our signatures and we send it.
Okay. Yeah, just send it to me. I'll review it, but I think now's the time to just do this.
Yes.
I don't, you know.
Oh, there is no waiting. The plan is to submit a document each and every day. So I want to be clear, because actually, as I say that, it sounds worse. These big boulders need to be struck at once, because waiting just means more bullshit piling on, and that makes it significantly more difficult to rectify. So.
Okay. I need to pivot and talk about something else. I want to get bank accounts for all the different certs, so that way we can just put the money in there and then, you know, they can spend it rather than this awkward, like, coming to me for money thing.
Okay.
I know that Bones said that there are business accounts. Do I need to fill out the paperwork? How do I do this so that way I can get business accounts for every cert?
So I think you should speak with a judge. I know you've got a lot on your plate, but I'm tackling all this other shit right now. Have a chat with the judge. So with Mopec, we made a throwaway business, which then had a bank account attached to it. Makes it easier tracking. However, the thing that you should ask is, if your lead changes, can you change the bank account? Because you don't want to fall into a trap where someone becomes a lead. Only one person gets access to a bank.
I think it would be myself or Bones. The account is under, and then we can give other people access, right?
I don't know. No, you can't.
Oh, you can't?
No, that's why only one person gets access to the bank, and I don't even know if it can be transferred.
Oh shit.
So I would I mean, look, between us, I don't see Bones sticking. He's pissed the fuck out of Pred. So and I'm not saying this like in a fuck Bones way, but rather
he's still gonna be the cert lead for Pursuit.
Okay. Yeah.
So in that case, I may have to try to get a different kind of bank account. Like, you know, the PD bank account, I might have to see if I can get one through the government.
I would ask I'd talk to a judge.
Okay.
Or maybe we can have Trig talk to the bank guy.
Honest Trig.
Yeah. Don't tell him I told you that, by the way, because, you know, I've been asking for him for a lot of things lately. I forget if it comes from you. You know, it's like less sus.
Okay.
But don't push him too hard. We can't lose that guy.
You don't push him too hard.
I'm not pushing him to. I just asked for. What do you mean? What the hell did I ask for?
I don't know what you're asking for, but I'm just saying that means an angel. You better be grateful for his help.
I absolutely am. Listen, he is like a big cornerstone to the LSPD. All right, I see that.
Right.
Dan apologizes, by the way.
About what?
I have no idea. I mentioned I got to meet Moss, and he said, "Can you tell her I apologize?" So I don't know what it's supposed to mean, but I want to say that before he went off duty.
It's just him and Ventura. You know, they're still. I think it's more so Den than Ventura right now, but they're being petty towards each other, and it's not just a personal thing, it's causing issues in the department now.
Oh.
And I had to tell him, if I have to have this conversation again with you, you won't be a sergeant anymore.
Oh, shit. Okay.
So I don't know how much more clear I can make it. Like, it needs to stop.
Yeah.
Like, I've already had this conversation with them, I think 2 times. So no more.
Leah, I'll call you right back, yeah?
I know.
Right. Yeah, I think tensions are high all over the city right now, but like you know, look, things are looking right now. I think this response I got with hopefully things clarifying over jurisdictions, over like who the autonomy of LSPD, etc., etc. I strongly believe that once those things are settled, every institute and branch of government can finally move forward.
I gotta tell you something. I'm pissed. I'm pissed. Okay, you know about this whole Hydra raid thing, and you know about Denzel showing the guns to people?
Yes.
Right. Like the whole him showing the guns to people, I don't like it, just because simply it's the fact of you're telling people who are potentially violent criminals that these things exist, and it could, you know, make them want to go out and get these things, right? They probably already knew they existed. Who knows? But that's my thought process. You're telling them, hey, this crazy gun is in the city. And well,
oh
now
my
they want
God,
that
Den is the
gun.
reason why all the other crews found the guns as well.
Know.
Holy shit, they wouldn't have searched for it if it wasn't for Den.
How could Den do this? But that's kind of my thought on it. Well, the marshals did an investigation as to whether or not he was mishandling evidence. I don't think they know what that means, to be completely honest. I told you what happened on the docket, where they posted that shit about like, you know, doing an investigation and want to go over their findings with the judge. And then I popped off on the docket about it, and the judge basically shut everything down and was like, I'm not entertaining a third party. This sounds like an internal issue that you guys need to figure out yourselves. So then I get a text message today from Anna Lockhart saying, check your documents. Findings are disclosed to both parties about the case. Didn't want to post the docket to the case itself. So then I check my documents. There are 5 reports in here about just an overall investigation into the potential mishandling in the case. And here's the kicker, Nino. In the first paragraph in this document, it says, as per numerous reports, evidence logs, and testimonies present in these findings, it is difficult to determine if the evidence was mishandled or not. The marshals will leave the decision to the judiciary and parties involved in the case. So not only did she ignore what the judge said and that it's an internal matter, deal with it internally, she then continued to hinder this investigation in this case by disclosing that information to the defense.
No!
She sent this
Wait!
document to the defense.
Oh my... I
So
already thought
now,
it was felony obstruction.
it literally is felony obstruction.
That's crazy.
I mean, I read through this, and yeah, he was being a dumbass and showed a bunch of people guns, but evidence mishandling, one, doesn't fucking exist in this city. There's nothing that actually defines what that is.
I think it's evidence
it's a
mishandling,
nothing
but
thing. You know what I mean?
not the argument for me to have right now.
But also, evidence mishandling refers to the actual investigation, that you have mishandled evidence in some way that affects the investigation. This, what he did, had nothing to do with the actual raid itself. This was a separate investigation based off of the findings, but in no way did that affect
Oh
the
my
charges against
God!
the suspects. And evidence mishandling only comes into play when it affects anything that is against the people you're pushing charges against. Does that make sense? I'm not saying it properly. But do you see what I'm trying to say?
I absolutely follow.
So now I have to get up there on the stand and explain how this isn't actually evidence mishandling, but the marshals are just they're
wait, you don't. Why would
actively.
you have to do that?
Well,
Because
I don't know what to do with this anymore, because it's like, this, in my opinion, has nothing to do with the case. It has nothing to do with it. This is completely separate. This is somebody that's meddling and that is literally trying to get this case thrown out, which I don't understand why they're trying to get the case thrown out. These people committed
what do you mean?
a crime.
It's obvious.
Why?
Because they're trying to find a reason to get you fired, which is why they didn't get involved with the raid to begin with. And then is the same reason why they painted LSPD as the primary investigators against the press case, despite the fact that 7 marshals are on the report, which is why they pretended there was only LSPD and nothing to do with it, which is why that at the 11th hour, they added more marshals to the docket, which is why, hold on, Nakota was originally on the docket and then recused himself. They're playing checkers, Moss. I know you're trying to look for like reasonable, like common sense, like adult answers, right? You're trying to make sense of the insensible, but the reality is you're playing checkers with kids that think they're playing chess. They just want you out. They want me out. They want Pred out.
So I think what I'm gonna do with this is I'm just gonna sue the fucking marshals, and I'm gonna push criminal charges against Lockhart.
Smart idea.
And she can explain how she didn't obstruct justice with this, and whatever made up procedure she was following.
Oh my God.
Never in my
Wait a
life
minute.
have I ever seen anyone do what she did before. I could understand if she came to me and she sent those,
Oh my God.
she came to me, she talked
Bro,
to me, maybe
I've
I
never
blew her off or
seen
something,
Boss
or,
this
and
pissed.
then she had like a,
This is a calm
like,
pissed off.
I have to let people know about this, but even in that case, that's just dereliction of duty on my part, and I should be fired for doing something like that.
Yeah. And I think this is kind of why I think your name being on this FOIA thing goes a long way, because it shows that from the onset of why you were chosen as chief of police is that you do have consideration of the populace in mind. And I think in the grand scheme of things, whether you want this to be the case or not.
Bone said when he saw the FOIA thing, he said, "Oh, we're gonna make a lot of money." Nino, please get out of the water.
What the fuck did they? Are you fucking serious? Daisy? Oh, there you are. Jesus fucking Christ. Yeah. Oh my Lord. Okay, I'm gonna tell you something that was told to me accidentally, so please do keep it to yourself. My first FOIA that I requested, I had Nova make a report, and I'm never gonna do this again because holy shit, Nova hears 10 words and she writes 3 of them. But it was somewhat coherent. And I said, I want a FOIA for the incident involving me and Den at the horse track where we met for 5 minutes and there was marshals monitoring and tracking us down. I want to know if there is no report, I want it written, which marshals were involved and what their criminal reasons for doing this were. For all you know, this was a privileged conversation, which by all intents and purposes, it was. The second one was, I want the next 4 months. And that's what prompted it, right? Like, if you're doing this shit to me, right? Like, it's intimidation, a bunch of things, right? I can sue you on behalf of the county. And I want to know how long this kind of bullshit's been going on. Well, when McNee came back, he said the second one they're still working on, which, mind you, I got to hear back from him. But the first one, which was the me and Den thing, he goes, oh, so one of them, it got denied, the one with the drone. And I'm like, oh, you mean the one with me and Den? He's like, yeah, that one. He mentioned drone more than once. Daisy.
What are these people doing?
I don't know.
Isn't their job to protect you?
And I had to listen to the justice tell me I'm abusing the FOIA system for requesting 4 months of documents. While they're fucking like...
Isn't their purpose literally to protect you?
Exactly. I mean, let me ask you something. Like, even the way that they went around saying LSPD this and LSPD that, in many ways, like, who fucking knows if they went around telling gangs that Daisy Moss did this? In a way that, I mean, look, I already have first-hand account of individuals that were told by Ventura in so many words to put out hits on LSPD officers. Is it that crazy that these same bozos that orbit around the same individuals are putting officers in positions where they may have violence put on them? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
UPD my fucking ass.
Yeah, I know. Look,
So
I think we have the right plan. I think getting back to autonomy for everyone, you know.
Yeah.
I've told you, like, I'm just of the mindset now of like, I don't care about BCSO, I don't care about the marshals.
Yeah.
They stay out of my business, I stay out of theirs. And it would be really nice if we could all get to that place where we can all just kind of operate together, but also as, you know, individuals rather than this whole weird power dynamic bullshit.
Agreed. In regards to the FOIA, the Marshall one, can you jot down your thoughts and bullet points? If you want to type something out more, that's fine. And what that will allow me to do is, if you and Ajax and Robin are not awake at the same time, right?
Yeah.
I can at least, you know,
I will send it to you. I'll write some stuff down tonight. I have to go train a cadet right now.
Yeah. Yep. Do your thing.
But I'll write that down tonight, and can I just email it to you, or
Yes.
should? Okay. Yeah.
Yep.
Because I don't know how
And
long it's gonna take.
I'll make sure before anything is sent that all parties, obviously it's going to require signatures, but everyone has a chance to review.
Okay.
My general role is to make sure it's readable, right? Because I don't think you're going to have this issue, but I'm going to be honest with you. My biggest thing has
No,
been
you just
keeping
gotta.
people reeled in so that when it's read, the main message is portrayed, right? The main
Yeah.
argument. And
I
that is,
think,
I found the biggest challenge, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Okay. All right, I will work on that.
All right.
But good. I mean, I don't know. I think just people just need to stay in their own lane. That's really what it
Yeah.
is. It's crazy.
That's, yeah. You're dealing with the marshals. I'm dealing with it with the DOJ. So,
Yeah.
all right.
And, it's inherently the same thing, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
You know. So, all right.
All right.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Appreciate you. You take care, Moss. Oh my God.